Hi. So today the topic of my so I'll be doing persuasive speech today, and the topic of my speech for today is, should sex education be introduced at schools in Malaysia? So the thing is, I think that sex education should be implemented in Malaysia because there's been a lot of cases that we heard these days, such as about sexual harassment among children and teenagers, sexual abuse, rape cases, teenage pregnancies, as well as baby dumpings happening in Malaysia. It has become quite a serious issue, and I think one of the most effective way to reduce these cases is to implement sex education in schools. And as we know it, through a survey being done by Ministry of Health of Malaysia, they found out that 35% of female youth believe that they can get pregnant during the first time they have sex, which is totally false information. And this is something that can be fixed through the implementation of sex education in Malaysia. So basically, I what is the benefit of sex education in Malaysia? Well, of course, students are basically these adolescents and children. They will be more mature and responsible when it comes to sexual related matter. It will obviously help victims of sexual violence. How do they deal with this problem? And of course, it conveys positive body image among students and helps boosting confidence level. And of course, they can avoid negative health consequences because they can lower their risk of contracting sexually transmitted diseases. And they can also practice sexual abstinence. This is very important, especially for those who are Muslims, because premarital sex is not permitted in Islam. So yeah, sex education can teach to can discipline children as well, children, adolescents as well, to practice to abstain themselves from, well, having sexual intercourse. So how can you help to implement sex education in Malaysia? Of course, parents should show support for this matter, to be more involved in health and welfare committee of parents and teachers association in school, in their children's school, while the teachers should equip themselves with more sex related knowledge to be taught in classroom for these students, and attend courses organized by Ministry of Education, so that they can get a better grip, to get a better understanding of how the module is going to be taught at school. So basically, my conclusion for today is sex education should be introduced in schools, as it is a very effective way indeed to reduce the number of underage pregnancies, baby dumping cases, sexual harassment and abuse among adolescents and children cases, as well as the risk of contracting sexually transmitted infections, or otherwise known as STIs. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Aina, and today I would like to deliver a really short, informative speech about sign language. So, sign language, what is it? Sign language is actually a mode of communication for those who have problem with hearing and who are deaf. This mode of communication is different than the other mode of communication because this one doesn't use your voice. It just uses the movements of your body. So yeah, let's get started. In this speech, I would like to tell you how you can benefit from picking up sign language. So, sign language can benefit you by enhancing your communication skills and bridge the communication gap between the non-hearing and the hearing community. And also, I would like to tell you that sign language is more than just a baby language. So first and foremost, how does it enhance your communication skill? Okay, when you talk to a person, when you're using sign language and you practice them, you get a sense of control of your body language and also your facial expression. And this comes in handy when you're in the work field because let's say you're not even dealing with a deaf person, you can understand your patient or your client better just by understanding how they move and how they express themselves to you. Next, sign language is not just a baby language. Do you know that newly parents, like young parents, they teach their infants sign language because it makes it easier for them to communicate with babies because babies can't really talk, so um, they can tell their parents when they're hungry using like sign language, like when they're hungry and want more food and want to sleep. So it's easier for them to communicate, but it's more than that. according to a professor named Rush Campbell, he stated that sign language can actually improve your mental state and your focus capabilities. And I couldn't agree more, because do you know that, of course, you know that sign language incorporates you to, like, it requires you to focus more on the person talking to you instead of just fumbling with your phone when you're like talking to them. So when you're using sign language, your whole focus is on them and the whole situation. So because you need to understand the whole conversation, right? So this is how it can increase your focus. Next is a mechanism to bridge the communication gap. Do you know that um, most deaf people are unemployed? This is because most of them are deaf people are mostly considered as a burden, because you can't really communicate with them in the workforce and they can't really understand what they want you to do. So I think let's not put the blame on them. And when everyone learns sign language and knows some basic sign language, I think that could actually bridge the communication gap and make the world a more fair place for them. So yeah, and those are the 3 benefits that you can obtain from learning sign language. And I hope you will learn them too. Thank you. See you next time. And this most prestigious award goes to none other than Nurkayfah Raina.
Me? Oh my god. Thank you to all who have come tonight. Good evening, everyone. First, having been a student in University Malaya for 4 years, I would never have thought to be standing on this stage tonight to be receiving this award. And I assure you that I have tried my best to win it every year, but there's someone who always outdid me, and that someone is still so outstanding. But in a retrospect, I think it's a good thing, because it made me want to do only better than what I did before. So never have I felt this intense passion to win an award or any accolade for that matter. I don't know what changed me, but I'm glad that it did. Besides that, to tell you from my early stage in life, I would have never thought to be graduating in one of Malaysia's most prestigious university, which is University Malaya. And I didn't get here based on my sole effort. I would like to make a special mention to Dr. Adib and Dr. Khairul, who have helped me a lot throughout these 4 years. Especially Dr. Adib, who has given me a combination, which is KK12, staying for these past 4 years, and Dr. Khairul, who has helped me throughout my learning system in University Malaya itself, which I think maths is quite hard. So I always go for her to help me to understand all of these equations and stuff. And so these 2 persons saw talent and honored this talent in me that I've never seen before. This potential they say. And because of that, I'm standing here tonight to be talking to you guys about it. And everyone needs such a mentor in life, and I'm lucky to have found my mentor early in this state of degree in University Malaya. And on the closing note, all I want to tell that each one of you that's present here is that you should never ever give up. Even though you're convinced that it's all over, I mean, it's University Malaya, so the competitiveness is quite hard here. But you should never give up, and because you will be receiving a lot of help from these friendly lecturers and all. And it's not over unless you want it to be over, and a true example of this is me standing right here in front of you. So thank you very much.